Hello there and welcome to the Response to COVID-19 program. I'm Vidya Ramphal. On today's program, Terry Fenwick takes charge as his first session as national football team coach since the lockdown ended. And in golf, the professional Chris Richards tells us how COVID-19 disrupted what was going to be his dream year. Well, we go first to the newly redone police training ground at the St. James Barracks, where the former England international Terry Fenwick took charge of his first session as national team head coach. COVID-19 and rumblings within the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association ended training for the past few months, and Fenwick addressed these issues during a media conference on Friday.
I'm sure you'll have recognised I'm working with a very, very young squad of players. We started just under a month ago, and my emphasis has been on mentality. We've got kids that are coming out of communities that have not had top-class coaching. They're sometimes a long way away from what the rest of the world are doing. And to give you an example of that, which I've also spoken to the players on this, you know, when we've got the best coaches in the world like Pep Guardiola, coaching teenagers to win championships, whether it be the Premier League or Champions League, and that's with whatever club he's been to, that tells me that these youngsters have got something to offer. We've got some great talent on the ground here in Trinidad and Tobago, and our football, if you like, lets them down because it's not over a sustained period of time, and the coaches are quite regularly changed over, so there's no development process put in place. But the way I've looked at this, guys, is if the best coaches in the world, like Pep Guardiola, like Jurgen Klopp, if these guys are using teenagers and kids that are 21, 22, 23, it tells me that we've got a chance with the kids that we have got on the ground here in Trinidad and Tobago. Our last squads have been the oldest squads in world football. Fact. Our last squad that competed for the World Cup qualifiers 2 years ago was the oldest squad in world football. I want to move it on from there because I see the talent that we have on the ground. I see the natural abilities that we've got. But as I've said before, you know, fitness now is a science. Across the world, they're doing bigger and better things. Technology's kicking in. And these kids, whether it be their muscle groups, their speed, their strength, whatever it is, that's all done under a profile that makes sure every individual becomes as best as they can be to contribute to the team mechanism. I stated on day one to the players, look after number one, and number one will look after you. Simple is genius. Do the simple things right, and everything else falls into place. Now recognise, guys, that we've just come through COVID virus into the Sahara dust, and in between all of that, we don't know who our leadership is at this time until we've got the court case, which I believe is on the 29th of this month, which is still a long way away for us. But what we've done is we've brought these kids out of their communities, away from their families, to represent themselves, their communities, within the training camp of the national side. Now, some of these are kids, and it's something brand new to them. Some of the sessions that we've done are brand new, they don't know. So I'm engaging them on and off the field as to how they adapt mentally. Everything I tell them only once to see who takes it on board and it goes over their head, because that's the way the world's moving right now. And I want us to get away from 105th ranking in the world, one of the teams from the Caribbean region. I want to be the top team in the region. I want to be down under 50 ranked in the world. I want us to move us in the right direction, and that will not happen unless we have a good development process from 15, 17, 20s into the national team. And some of my players will be in them late teens coming through to my national side. They've done a great job so far. The intensity has been remarkable. Sometimes it's looked frantic because they're putting a lot of time and effort into their physical side of the game. But it has slowed down slightly since we started, so it's now looking more structured, more organised. We're doing simple things like two-touch in your own half, so we become efficient on the ball, so we move that fast. We're getting youngsters in midfield and forward. They can't receive the ball unless they're looking at the opposition's goal. So it gets them on the half turn, so they're receiving the ball and they know where the defenders are around them, so they're comfortable and they're not giving the ball away cheap. We've got forwards being positive, don't turn back, they're listening to me. Bad angles, cross the goal. Good angles, get in there, shoot under the crossbar. We're putting into them some very positive but very simple structures at the moment to bring them on. We haven't really touched on the team principles of play, not yet, but we will be. We'll be getting there. Port of Spain and the country, in fact, is going through a difficult period of time. Thank God Gary Griffiths has helped us out with the training facilities, and what a fabulous job he's doing on the ground around the country, trying to solve the issues that we've got. But we as a national body to the young footballers of this country, we owe to them to deliver better and bigger than we've done before. We are, as you can see, the equipment that we're using is not the best, but we're making do. There's no finances, so nobody's getting paid, but we're here, we're training, we've got rules and regulations, and players are turning up on time. We've got a fantastic, already within this first month, there's a lovely passion around the squad that we've got. There's a nice feeling, everybody's getting on well. I can't hear any bickering in the background, there's no disjointed pockets of people. We're doing this together because this is Trinidad and Tobago. We've got to deliver better for the footballing public, for the people that are actually out there behind us, and we recognise there are a lot of snipers out there, so we've got to be careful of what we do, what we say, how we behave in public places. So it's not easy. You guys in the media press, you've got to realise we're going through a difficult time. For me as the national coach, it's about delivering the best I possibly can to the most talented footballers that we've got in the country. They are good, and I keep on telling them, for you to be here, for you to be selected, there's lots of players out there that are in their mid-20s to early 30s that haven't been selected, that are not involved in this squad. And they're asking why. And I've said to most of them, listen, fellas, and I apologise in advance, if you are 26, 27 upwards, and you're still playing in the leagues here in Trinidad and Tobago, I know I've got better players playing at a higher standard of football somewhere else in the world. And we've got to get back winning. We've come out of the worst record, joint worst record the country have ever had. And you're not interested in my tactics. You're not interested in how I look after my players, how I'm getting into their minds, how it's very much based upon their mentality. All the public are looking at are results. So yes, I understand that. And the national team is not the development team. That comes at 15, 17, 20s. The national team are there to win. And I recognise that. But I'm putting things in place now because a lot of the kids that I've got out there, some of them are not getting a fair run in their own club sides as we speak. But I'm on the ground. I get out there. I speak to people that I recognise in football circles that I respect. They give me good information, so I'm selecting kids that I know have got a future, got an opportunity. Biggest sport in the world, guys. Most money generated in sport is through football, soccer. Kids from all over, and predominantly from poor backgrounds, are making it to the top and earning a fortune, not just for themselves, but for their families. They're then contributing to their communities. That's what we got to bring to Trinidad and Tobago. I'm working hard at it. I've got my detractors in the background, which okay, I understand. Given my everything to the young players that we've got. I'll get on with you most of the time. When we don't get on, you will know I don't get on, because I'm very straightforward. But I like to keep it as simple as possible. Do the right things, work hard with the right players, give them the right examples, give them the right leadership from the front, so we're not just competitive. We start winning games, we're looking after ourselves, we're getting more young footballers from Trinidad and Tobago out into bigger leagues around the world where they can earn a living for themselves and their families and do some good. We've had a shocking time over the last years. It's my job to turn it around.
Terry Fenwick there, the national team head coach, and he wants to get back to winning. We'll see how that goes over the next months or so. Now, coming up on the Response to COVID-19 program, TNT Open golf champion Chris Richards tells us how COVID-19 turned his golf career upside down. That's coming up. Hey, welcome back. Now, the defending TNT Open golf champion Chris Richards Sr. was having a dream year in 2020. He was sent to defend the title he won in the Pro Division last year and was enjoying a stint at the Four Seasons Golf Club in Nevis. Now, when COVID-19 struck, it was all gone. When I spoke to him this week, I first asked him if he thought the world would change so rapidly due to the coronavirus. The world would have been in this situation that everything seems to have changed in every aspect of life.
Not in my wildest dreams I would have probably picked that up. No one could have picked that one up. You know, that was really sudden and a shocker.
2020 was shaping up to be a very good year for you. You were set to defend your TNT Open title, and you got a job as the season golf coach at the Four Seasons in Nevis. Things were really looking good, but coronavirus had other ideas.
Yes, it sure did. It sure did. The Open come and cancelled, and they don't know if we're going to play next year due to the lockdown at the borders and the amount of cases they have, let's say, in Europe and America, where most of the players would have been coming in from. I don't know if the border is going to be open to make that happen again. Also, in Nevis, again, the same thing, tourism, Europe and America, a bunch of cancellations to the hotel. So the hotel right now is closed, actually. I was talking to one of my supervisors up there, and he told me it's closed. It's nothing happening.
And let's start with that TNT Open defense. You've won it two times out of the last 3 years, basically. So you were in some good form. You were looking to repeat as champion this year.
Hopefully. I know I had some serious rivals this year. They kind of, how to put it, really practice really hard this year. They say Chris can't do this again. This old man can't do this again. But nevertheless, I had a little surprise or two for them.
And it was a big honor to be called up as the season golf coach at the Four Seasons, wasn't it?
It certainly was. It was sudden and abrupt. They needed a coach. I was up at the Millennium Lakes Golf and Country Club, sitting there. One of my buddies up there, his name is Richard Lara. He was up there. The gentleman called Richard, we need a coach. He said, I have the right man here for you. The rest is history. And that's how it was.
And for those of us who've never been to Nevis or seen what the Four Seasons is like, describe what this resort was like. You've played in a lot of resorts all over the world. How does this one compare?
Wow. I used to say everywhere else is the other side of paradise. I think at Nevis is paradise and everywhere else is the other side of paradise. Nevis have one mountain in the middle of the island. High. Probably higher than all that I saw in Trinidad. Every day, it have a ring of cloud right around the top of that mountain. It's probably one of the most beautiful sights. If you think that was nice, the sunset I look a lot in Chaguaramas. I watch a lot of sunset in Chaguaramas. Sometime in Tobago, I see a lot of sunset at Mount Irvin. But that sunset, it's breathtaking. It's really the great artist at his best.
And however, coronavirus took that away. Any chances of you going back up next year to pick up your career there?
Well, once the coronavirus probably slow down its pace, what I was told is that as soon as things start to pick up, they're going to give me a call and see if I'm available to continue. I sure would like to do it. Yes.
Coronavirus also interrupted the local golf season. There were so many tournaments cancelled. Also, you operate the Trinidad and Tobago Institute of Golf. So also the young people were not able to come out and do their training.
Still, even though we are open up somewhat for golf, most people playing golf still, due to the social distancing and the amount of people you need to have in a group at one time, especially with the youngsters, we don't want to take any chances, so we still don't have any junior programs going on. Maybe just one-on-one coaching going on. That's about it.
What was the lockdown like for you? I would imagine that somebody who's on a golf course 25 out of the 24 hours for the day. What was it like for you? And of course, your son, Chris Richards Jr., who is one of the most promising golfers in the country.
Oh, it was seriously frustrating. I'm someone who definitely do like to stay at home. And being at home so long, wow. Probably watched every series there is on television. Pick up a few menus, cook a few things. Everybody was a chef at that time. And basically that was it. Watching television, cooking, eating. Actually, I didn't practice at all. No practice whatsoever. I just sit and take a long vacation from golf. It was somewhat challenging, so to speak.
And for Chris Jr., what was it like?
It certainly was challenging for him. At morning, sometimes he get up. He will do a few stretching exercises because he still want to stay limber kind of thing. But he always want to play. He want to play and he can't get out to play. So it's tough. It was really tough.
You also had the unusual occurrence of being named as Sportsman of the Year for golf, but you were not able to go to the ceremony because there was a virtual ceremony this year. So what could have been a crowning moment in your career was a little bit muted this year.
Yes. Actually, my son and I made history in Trinidad and Tobago for the Junior Golfer of the Year and the Senior Golfer of the Year. Both of us, for the First Citizens Award, was the golfers. And this year we was really looking forward to it. I came back from St. Kitts just in time to make sure to go to it, and then boom, coronavirus shut everything down, and it was strange. It was really strange. Yes.
Now that golf has reopened, how have you seen the reopening going for the different clubs here in Chaguaramas, which is where you started back in 1976, and the different clubs you operate at Millennium, at Mocha, and these other clubs?
Oh, it's amazing to realize. You always hear some people saying, or the older people saying, you never miss the water till the well run dry. I have saw that in golf. Because they was quarantined for such a period of time and they couldn't have played any golf, most of the members in most of the clubs that I went to the Millennium Lakes Golf and Country Club, I was at St. Andrews Golf and Country Club, I was at the Bridge and Castle Golf Course, and at Chaguaramas. And every time I'm there, it's filled. The golf course is filled. Golfers are playing. So I think it's going well. It's going pretty good. People really learn to appreciate the outdoors a little more and being there.
That's, of course, Chris Richards, two-time Caribbean Amateur Champion, two-time TNT Open champion, World Golf Teachers Cup winner, and last year he lifted the U.S. Golf Teachers Cup for the second time in his career. Certainly a year of reversals it has been for him, but he still plays the game and does his coaching with a smile. Great example from him there. Well, thanks for joining us for the Response to COVID-19 program. My name is Vidya Ramphal. Have a wonderful weekend, and thanks so much for joining us. Bye for now.